Welcome to Real Estate U with Letty Ann.
Season 2 podcast, Real Estate U with Letty Ann. Thank you for tuning in. Today I have Tyler Burks with New Western Acquisitions. Tyler, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Letty Ann. Appreciate it.
You bet. So Tyler is an acquisitions agent at New Western. It's a company, a national company with a local office here in Kansas City. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Great. And we met recently, and it was a wonderful connection because Tyler helped me solve my problems and my seller's problems, and we can get into all of that. But I look at you as an asset, Tyler, and
Right.
I'm sure other people will as well, once we talk about your services and whatnot. However, you didn't start out in the acquisitions business. You're now, tell us a little bit about your background.
What I started out in was sports for the most part. So I went to college for sports and all that stuff. Got into professional football for a little while, just arena, if you call it professional.
We have a licensed agent here who was in arena football, Mike Jackson. So
perfect.
Not Michael Jackson, but it is Michael. It is Michael Jackson.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll ask him if he's heard of you. But,
Okay, cool.
Yeah, cool.
And then from there, I got onto the Minnesota Twins, training the baseball players there. Made it to the major leagues for a little while. I was one of the younger guys up there too, so it was pretty cool. Then made my transition over to the Royals. Trained there for about a year, and then just decided that, for a number of reasons that, this wasn't going to be the long-term goal, that I needed to get into something else. And my dad talked me into real estate. So around this time last year is when I was dabbling into it and just seeing if I was going to get into it or not, that or medical sales, and then settled in on real estate and just been hitting the ground ever since.
Does your dad have a background in real estate, or why did he suggest that for you?
He started about 4 or 5 years ago when he retired from the Navy in Frito-Lay, and he loved it. He tried getting into it a long time ago in the 90s, and then just backed out and came back in and then talked me into it. He said, "You're going to kill it. You're going to crush it. So I'll help you out with your exam and all that stuff." And so just go for it. And then, and then he brought me in on his brokerage with Veterans Realty at the time with his Navy buddies, just us three.
Love that, Veterans Realty. That's great.
Yeah. So working with nothing but VA buyers, really. And then various different avenues, got hooked up with New Western Acquisitions. So.
And how did you, what was your interest in New Western?
So as soon as I got into real estate, my brother and I were kind of like talking about it. Well, why don't we do some investments and fix and flips ourselves and everything like that? So came across New Western through Facebook. The general manager, Richard Randall, he's the one that actually hired me later on, invited me to come in the office and meet with everybody and basically tell me how the system goes, because I was trying to purchase a house from him. And these things were just flying off the shelves. I was like, what's going on here? How do these guys do this? So for a little bit of time, my brother and I were trying to purchase a house from them. We just couldn't get our hands on it because they were just moving too fast. Then later on, the retail side started to slow down for me a little bit. And then I was like, well, what am I going to do? Do I continue on with the retail, or do I reach out to this guy and see what he's got? So I reached out to him, basically gave him the whole breakdown of what the company's all about and everything. And I was like, I want in. So then a few weeks later, he hired me from there.
I had the pleasure of meeting almost your entire office a couple of weeks ago, and I really like the culture there and the concept. And it was a pleasure meeting Richard as well. So you went from sports to you're the top agent this month in your office, and you're relatively a new acquisitions agent. So what motivates you, Tyler, and what are some of those routines that, and then we'll get into your services, because that's really, it's going to provide a lot of value for those who are watching in a lot of different arenas, and not arena football. But what drives you? I mean, you're the top agent. I might try to recruit you and Richard will kill me. So won't do that, Richard. I promise. So what drives you? And this would help other agents. Like, you're killing it right now, but you're helping others. It's just not like you need to be number one. You're actually finding joy helping those along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a natural thing for me. Ever since I was a kid, I've always been kind of top in something. mostly related to sports. So it was just kind of a natural mentality for me, is that I want big things and I'm going to go for the big things, and I'm not really scared of anything. And I'm more curious than anything. So I'm more curious to see like how and what it takes to really get to those things. And there's really not much of a barrier in regards to some sort of fear. You know, of course it's there. You know, everybody's fearful in something, right? So, but then it comes down to just go for it and then figure it out on the way, essentially. And then I try to learn as much as I can, take in new information from, you know, Audible books, podcasts, and all that stuff too, and just apply it to my own nature, I guess. I just want big things.
And they're attainable.
They are.
And I love what you just said. It's absolutely beautiful. So a good friend of mine often says, we're building the plane as we're flying it. And so think big, go for it. And like you said, what could get in your way? Because if you have the want, you'll find the will in the way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the nature of it, really.
I love that. So we met because I thought a property that I had listed would be a good candidate, a beautiful property in Leawood, a good candidate for an investment. We were struggling. We were getting a ton of showings. The house had great bones, a beautiful home, gorgeous location, incredible. It just it needed some updates and some things to really take it to the next level.
Right.
So not only one, did you acquire the property, but two, you found the right fit investor to purchase the property. My sellers, everyone, it's like everybody won. Like I went home and like, this is the beautiful thing of real estate. We help others get to their next place, wherever that may be. So I'm hanging on to you. I've already got another property for you to look at.
Good.
So what services at New Western Acquisitions, and we have the website below for any of you wanting to investigate where their offices are around the country, as well as what services they provide. Tell us who you help and what services you provide.
Well, in a nutshell, we help, I guess, a number of people, but it's mostly anybody who wants to get into real estate investing, realtors such as yourself.
Well, let me stop you. You said anyone who wants to get involved in real estate investing. Is that a couple who has 20 grand in their bank account and go, hey, you know, maybe we should buy a property? I don't know. When you say anybody who wants to invest, who is that person?
Literally anybody and everybody who
wants to flip like you did when you went to them and like, well, hey, brother, want to flip a house? That kind of person?
Yeah.
Or the person. So I'm just trying to figure out like who the investor is, because they may be watching and they may want to reach out to you.
Yeah.
So what's the profile of the different types of investors that might reach out and say, do you have a property for us? Because I think a family, a family, like three people, mom, dad, and a daughter or son, are the ones who purchased my property.
Right.
So I just found that really interesting. Wow, that's really cool. A family's working together and on a project. So
right.
Yeah. Who's the investor?
So the investor could be just like your example you mentioned there, as a couple who's got some money saved up, and they say, okay, they watch the HGTV show one day and say, I want to do that. I want to flip a house.
Everybody wants to do that, Tyler. Yeah. You know, I want to do it.
They want to be Chip and Joanna Gaines, right? So that's so we get the newcomers of flipping that come into our office to say, okay, we want to invest in real estate, we want to flip a house. Then we'll also get young, hungry individuals who want to purchase rental properties, so single families, duplexes, or all the way up to multifamily complexes. And we'll also even investment companies across the nation. So these well-established companies, you know, over in California, here in Kansas City, they come to us to find multiple investment properties to fund their business. So it's, like I mentioned, it's pretty universal. So anybody who has the notion to want to come in and purchase some sort of fix and flip rental or multifamily complex or anything of the sort, that's who we service.
So it's almost like if you, So you want that investor, if someone's considering this, they're going to come in and have a conversation with you or someone at your office.
Right.
So here comes the investor client. You're asking them their needs and wants, and then they're saying, well, here's ideally what we're going to do with a property in approximately this price range. And then you have them like in your investor pool.
Right.
Okay. So you don't lump everyone together. It's Tyler and his brother over here, that's for example. And then you have this other married couple with a son. Then you have maybe 4 friends that pulled all their money together. So then you connect those investors with the appropriate property.
Right, correct.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we basically profile them essentially when they come into our office.
So they interview and
Yeah, we go over the whole system in regards to, we're very transparent as to how the system goes, because it can be kind of confusing for some people. So we want to coach them up a little bit on what that may look like, from viewing the property to getting it under contract and closing the property down. So we'll do all of that whenever they come in and marry the two together. Basically, they tell us what they want, and we say we
Go out
have
and find it.
Yeah.
So you almost hunt for it, or unless you already have it in your pool, the property in your pool.
Yeah. So pretty much, I mean, we pick up a lot of different things, a lot of different types of properties. Our bread and butter, of course, is fix and flip properties, because everybody wants that quick capital and the fun of.
I have one for you. We'll talk after the show.
Perfect. Bring it on. I want all of them.
I seriously do.
Good. So we'll just profile them and then just marry the two together, and we just pick up all different kinds of properties, because we know that there's multiple different strategies out there, and that's the beauty of real estate investing, and it's very universal. Anybody can do it.
As long as they have money.
As long as they have a little bit of money.
And
right.
resources. So do it right. If you're going to flip a house, do it right, folks, because you're ultimately going to sell it. So with this investor, you found them a property. They close on the property. Are you out of the picture then? Do they hire their own contract? They're taking the baton from there. You don't get involved with the flip or the construction or the contractors, right? That's basic. Or do they ask you for that advice?
Yeah, they'll ask us for advice all the time.
Okay.
They just say, what would you think, or what would you do in this situation?
Who do you know? Do they ask you for contractors?
Always who you know.
Of course.
I mean, anybody who's a contractor, feel free to come in and meet us and then see what we're doing. And it's a great way for you to build your business, because the amount of volume that we're bringing in contractors.
Those who are listening.
Yes. Ones who I would recommend, who have the end goal in mind and aren't looking for the gigantic chunks every time, and realize that the amount of volume is going to be what drives their business. Right. And that's how we operate as well.
But we still want it done right, of course.
Absolutely.
So is Kansas City, and we'll get back to your services. I think we only have a few more minutes here, and then we're hoping you come back. But Kansas City, last I checked, it was about number 12 in the nation and we're not in the top 10. Have we moved to the top 10 for Kansas City being one of the top areas to purchase investment properties?
I think it's on its way up. You could just see all the activity just driving around different neighborhoods.
I love the revitalization. It's almost like a revitalization.
Absolutely.
There's been neighborhoods that are questionable. Now they're being turned and invested in and flipped, and families are moving in. I love seeing it.
Yeah.
I mean, that must drive you a little bit.
It does quite a bit. And being from Kansas City, it's really cool just to see the changes, especially around the downtown area. Like Manheim Park, that's a prime.
Hyde Park?
Hyde Park is one, and Manheim Park.
Oh, Manheim Park.
That's just east of the plaza there. That's where my brother and I's first flip was. I mean, 10 years ago, you go into this neighborhood, you just see, how can anybody live here? And then now you see all these homes, and people are buying them up for $200,000 or more when they're all done and fixed up. And it's pretty amazing. It's really cool to see, just to see the changes and actually being a part of that too. So it's really cool.
That's wonderful. So I have one last question, and I think we need to wrap it up. But do you prefer baseball or football? What do you like, a Bo Jackson who's the other guy with beautiful teeth? Baseball player and football player. What do you prefer, baseball or football?
Football was always the love right there. So
what position?
I was a safety and a running back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Just kind of short, stocky bruiser is what I was.
Well, now we're glad you're in our real estate world. So, Tyler, thank you so much for being here. Tyler Burks, everyone. You can connect with Tyler, his contact information below, and website, New Western Acquisitions. offices all over the country and one here locally in Kansas City. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again soon.